6 months ago, I took a moment or two to update our members and supporters with a message at Christmas time explaining how the railway was faring and what the future had in store, which of course at that time was particularly unclear, it has to be said. Now 6 months on, yes, 6 months has passed by. It's amazing how quickly that happens, isn't it? And it's time to give an update on what's been happening with the railway, where we stand now and what our plans are for the future. Because things were so uncertain this winter, and we really didn't know what was going to happen, what we were going to be able to do this summer, we had to come up with a plan that would look after the railway for this year and ensure our survival into the future. The forecast that we made was that we might be able to achieve an income of 60% of what we might achieve in a normal year. And based on that, we have shaped our business and shaped our costs for 2021. Part of our plan, a really important part of our plan, was to keep our railway close to operation, so that should the opportunity arise for us to run trains, that we would be able to do so. I'm pleased to say that we've done that, and as I stand here today, 5 trains every day are running on the Ffestiniog and Welsh Highland railways. In the plan that we made, we aimed to run our first trains in April. Back in the deep dark days of December, this seemed like a reasonable plan. As it happened, we couldn't run trains in April. Restrictions wouldn't allow it. But we were able to start to offer a service from the beginning of May. Even that seems quite a while ago now, doesn't it? We were not quite sure what sort of timetable, what sort of services that we would be able to offer. So we made a plan with a timetable framework that took us up to the 23rd of July, just before the main peak season and the main school holidays. I'm delighted to say that the service that we planned has run with huge success throughout May and June. We've managed to achieve 85% of the traffic income that we achieved in June 2019. This really is an incredible achievement against the backdrop of COVID and the limited capacity of our trains as a result. We've achieved that 85% of income with just 60% of the timetabled service mileages that we would have run back in 2019. So a very different service, very different shape, but it's working well for us at the moment. Of course, traffic is one thing, but our catering and our on-train catering in particular has been decimated by COVID restrictions and will not rebound this year. It will be sometime next year before we can see anything like the levels of business from that we enjoyed in previous years. Indeed, it'll never look the same again. I have to say a huge thank you to everybody in our engineering team that has worked so hard to make it possible to have the railway in operation this year. Particularly the team who have changed the bridge at Ffestiniog. We're driving trains over it every day now and we kind of take it for granted. It looks so similar to the old bridge that was there. But let's not forget, in the middle of a COVID crisis, with the help of a generous sponsor, we've been able to deal with a major infrastructure challenge. And I say a great thank you to everybody who's been involved in that and made it possible for trains to run again. Thank you. I would also like to say just a few words about the team at Boston Lodge and Dinas who have worked so hard to make sure that our rolling stock is in a fit state for us to operate these trains. As I say, 5 trains per day are now out and running and that's through the dedication and support of the staff, supported by the volunteers, and of course with funding from the members that have helped us keep things going at Dinas and Boston Lodge. When we think about the service that we are delivering at the moment, in June we took £440,000 worth of traffic income at the fare box. And that means a lot of people coming through our door, a lot of people who need to be looked after in this COVID secure environment. And so our operational team, our volunteer hosts, the commercial team who are working to look after those customers are doing a fantastic job. I had the great pleasure of driving a train to Bethgelert yesterday, and I saw the customers with great smiles on their faces and our team doing incredibly well. And I must say a huge thank you to everybody in that team, from those that are cleaning carriages, catering, hosts, guards, controllers, signalmen. What a cracking job everybody is doing. And thank you so much for all pulling together and helping. There's a bit of a snapshot of the sort of things that our team are dealing with and the kind of response that we're getting from our engineers, who seemingly will stop at nothing to make sure that our services run. This week, on Monday morning, the sad news came that the Vale of Ffestiniog had failed. Its transmission broken, unable to operate. By the end of Tuesday, the transmission had been removed from the chassis of Carnarvon Castle. On Wednesday morning, the Vale of Ffestiniog was stripped. And as I stand here now, that is Carnarvon Castle's transmission installed in the Vale of Ffestiniog. The Vale of Ffestiniog's transmission is outside waiting to go to a transmission specialist to be repaired. So there's a big plumbing up job now, and I rather suspect that by the end of the week, this engine will be running again. That's an amazing effort to change a transmission in a locomotive like this. And I'd just like to say thank you to the guys who are doing it and helping us to make sure that this engine is available to be as a standby for Welsh Highland services and to help with the maintenance trains that we're doing. Thank you guys. We really appreciate that. Even though we continue to have the challenges of the restrictions due to COVID and all that brings with it, we nonetheless continue to make some tremendous progress on the railway. We're here now in the new carriage shed at Boston Lodge, and when you probably last saw an update on this, there was a lot less concrete in the floor here and a lot less rails. In the last few weeks, our volunteers, including Brell from White House Construction, the rest of the World Gang and many others, have been here working on this facility, so that hopefully by this winter we'll have a lot more carriages under cover, and that will help our stock last longer and reduce the maintenance burden. But what an achievement that we've got going on here, I say, in the middle of a pandemic. But it's not just this. There are so many other things that are happening. Our engineering team have been working hard in the works to earn money from external projects, and these things include things like a chassis for a tram for the Christchurch Tramway Museum, Pickering carriage for the Welsh Highland Heritage Railway. We're working on Pixie, a small locomotive privately owned of Teddy Boston fame, and also many other projects such as the Ravenglass and Eskdale carriage, the third one that we've completed. The list is actually quite lengthy of things that we're working on. Then there's the things for our home railway as well. We continue to work on James Spooner. We're building a new cab for the Carnarvon Castle locomotive, and that should be completed as the year goes on. And just today, the boiler has been extracted from Linda, ready for inspection, and the plans for its 10-year overhaul. Not far behind that is Taliesin, also being stripped by a team of volunteers who are working on that for its 10-year overhaul. And then there's all the electrical working parties and the people who've been working on heritage buildings and work around Boston Lodge. I say the list goes on and on. So what comes next? There's been no clear indication as to when restrictions will be completely lifted. We know that there was a plan in June for restrictions to be lifted, but nearing the last minute, it was determined that no, it was going to be another month. So it looks like at the end of July, restrictions will be lifted in England, but there has been no similar announcement in Wales. So that means that our services going forward will continue to be the COVID secure type services that we've seen. But we are going to take steps during the summer holidays to run services to Blaina and slowly rebuild our traffic to there. And also there will be through trains on the Welsh Highland Railway on Fridays and Saturdays, but with Sundays through to Thursdays still using the picnic services to Beth Gelert. That's the Gelert Explorer and the Glaslyn Venturer. They've been very popular indeed. So as we look forward to the autumn, we can expect these COVID secure services to operate certainly through to mid-September, and I really rather suspect probably till the end of the season. We can expect no big galas and special events. Frankly, we simply don't have the resources to do that in addition to all that we are trying to do. But what we can look forward to is that in September we'll expect the Welsh Island Railway Society AGM with K1 visiting us back home for a few weeks from Statfold Barn. And we also hope to have a gentle vintage weekend and supporters day on that first full weekend in October, when we can all have a look at the railway and enjoy our railway. Our mission now though is very clear, and that is to focus on the summer services. We need to make money in July, August and into September. We need to deliver the train services, take in that fare box income and make as much as we can. And that's with the simple objective of getting through the winter and doing all the maintenance work that we need to do. I know that Alex and his team are planning a really ambitious project this winter to renew a lot of sleepers on the Ffestiniog Railway through the woods. We're just about to order the materials for that. We're able to do that because you, our members and supporters, have given us money, donations and help. That means we're confident enough to really go for it and make sure that our railway stays in really good condition. And I think when we look at the situation that others less fortunate than ourselves find themselves in, we're really pleased that we're in a position where we can plan that ambitious programme. It just remains for me to say, really, that what we're all about now is earning that money, planning a strong winter programme, and above all, continuing to foster that wonderful spirit that has come about because of COVID. The Ffestiniog and Welsh Highland spirit has really shone through in these last months. It really warms our hearts to see so many people working so hard for our railway, and long may that continue.